All right. So let's jump into the thick of things, right? So we know what happened in the past 24 hours, right? Probably when this video was uploaded, it's probably more than like 24 hours, right? But the past 24 hours, the fucking internet, well, at least the Twitter side, and like, I guess you could say like the Democratic, the super hardcore Democratic side, like completely like imploded on itself, is having a huge meltdown and everything just because their favorite president didn't win or anything like that, right? Which is fucking ridiculous, right? There's like a bunch of people crying, there are people yelling, there are people there's literally actually people in Chicago protesting, literally protesting on this situation itself. Like there's literally people protesting on this shit and it's fucking crazy in my personal opinion. This is probably the most absurd thing I've ever seen so far off of this dumb thing. Like they're literally protesting in Chicago, Illinois right now because their president did not win or so. Donald Trump, go away! And do not get me started with the VTuber scene either, because goddamn, dude, some of those I've seen some crazy stuff, and it's pretty fucking funny. Like, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't care about politics, right? Because I'm not a politic channel, and I don't give a fuck because I come from the void or so. To be honest, the void is just way better compared to whatever you have here on this planet by like different miles or so. Oh Jesus Christ!
Violante1 donated $70. There you can put it towards the controller.
All right, I'll have to wait for it to go on sale though. I'm waiting for it to fall down. I can imagine how hurt Tricky Wee is. Oh jeez. No man, dude. When their masks come off or so for certain VTubers or so, it's pretty crazy. I can't wait to see the Rev says Desu or so to make videos on this specifically because I feel like this is just content. You have Hassan Piker who is wants to move to Japan apparently, which is probably the most dumbest thing I've heard in my entire life just because his favorite president didn't win, right? I thought it was completely stupid, right? The Republicans have won a complete. He moves to Japan. Yeah, he wants to move to Japan, but it's not gonna work out, to be honest. So, and then also on top of it, it was like a clean sweeper. So that I think like what the Republicans have won everything or so, right? It's full control Republicans or so. Who realize that there's more conservatives than the U.S. Oh yeah, 100%. So from what I've noticed, right, it's a clean sweep. The Republicans have won, and it was a clean sweep or so. It's just a full red wave. Hey man, you know what? For those who don't know, right? For history, right? At least, because I said this like yesterday, right? In the origins of the U.S. or so, because I learned this in fucking history class. There was only one party, which was the Republican Party. So the Democratic Party did not came until way later. If you guys didn't know about that, that's what I learned or so in history class. So the Republicans have taken over back again, which is fine. I don't really care, to be honest, at the end of the day, right? Like I said before, far left Felices did a number on Asia, so they're not gonna welcome him. Yeah, that's true. Even then, on top of that, right? It's like, bro, like, there's a lot of people complaining. There's a lot of people whining. They're all bitching. They all fucking. It's just like, bro, like. And also another thing on top of that, they're all talking about identity politics too, as well, which makes no sense, right? Like, why are you guys talking about this specifically? Like, you guys aren't really talking about like the reasons why Kamala actually lost and the reason why Donald Trump actually won and everything like that, right? So it's just kind of like at the end of the day, right? It's just that's why I just really didn't care about politics. I've never really cared about politics because it's just kind of like whatever. My friend who is also like who's a Democratic, right, can also call the bullshit out or so of some of what the Democrats have done. Even though he believes in some of the Democratic stuff on the side, right? And my friend who is a Republican who is completely on the Republican side, right, can also call out the bullshit on the Republican side too, right? But they're both fucking good friends and they both talk to each other and they both none of them were fucking bitching and complaining or anything like that. They just kind of played Call of Duty and that was pretty much it. I got the chance to talk to them or so about the situation or so earlier today and it was pretty fucking hilarious. I'm gonna be honest with you. My friend on the Democratic side or so was laughing his ass off after showing him all this stuff on Twitter or so that's been happening because they don't have Twitters. They don't care about Twitter. Okay, they think people who are on Twitter and like tweet out like 2,000 fucking tweets a single day are like the most mentally ill people in the entire world or so. So I showed him or so a couple videos or so and like stuff like that, and they were kind of like laughing their asses off. Even my Republican friend too as well. He was like laughing his ass off and everything. So they were both fucking laughing their asses off, and it was fucking pretty fucking hilarious to see their reactions and everything. Saying, "Yeah, of course, it's not like it." Like my Democratic friend literally said, "It's not the end of the fucking world, okay? It's not like Donald Trump is gonna like become the king of the U.S. for the next fucking 50 years or something. You know, that's not how it works, okay? It's just only for 4 years, and then you just run the course again, and then." A new fucking president, new couple presidents are gonna start running for the new presidency, and then that's pretty much it. It's the same shit, just different year. Like seriously, I just don't like. He literally says, I don't understand what's up with these people complaining and bitching and and all that stuff. And if he like, and he's like, man, dude, I hope I die sooner to be honest, because I don't have to see this anymore. It's so fucking funny to see their reactions and everything. And then they just went back and then they went to go play Call of Duty, and then that was pretty much it. That's it. They just went to go play Call of Duty together, and that's pretty much it. That's it. They just literally went to go play Call of Duty, and then that was it. That was the end of the discussion. They just thought, hey man, win or lose, we're still best friends at the end of the day, so it doesn't matter because we were friends first before we even bothered talking about politics anyways with each other. So
Co as president when? I want this money shot baby nose bleeding model girl be president.
no, I do not want to run. I do not want to run. I do not want to run for this godforsaken country, to be honest. The way how people are and react like that, no, I'm okay. I'm good, to be honest. I'm a-okay. I'm a-okay, I'm like second in command or so back in the void or so, so I think I'd rather take that position in my personal opinion when Mama Azathoth leaves or so. But yeah, anyways, let's go jump into it, shall we? Optimus has made a video or so about the Donald Trump winning, the 2024 presidential election. So why not let's jump into the main topic or so. Man, dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, as much as I don't like this, that's all I gotta say is the memes are great. The memes are fucking fantastic. Memes are fucking fantastic off of this, to be honest.
Alright, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and man, has it been an eventful 24 hours for
Oh
the United
yeah,
States,
it has been
realistically
eventful
for the entire world, right? So, the US presidential race is all but over now. Yesterday was election day. People turned out to the polling booths.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I thought the election was way later, to be honest. I didn't think it was at the beginning of November, to be honest.
To cast their vote for U.S. President, Senators, House of Representatives, state ballot, local ballot issues. I mean, geez, the voting was just all over the place yesterday. And obviously, waking up the next morning, it is now projected by pretty much everybody. The numbers are in, and Donald Trump will be the next president of the United States. So Donald Trump has officially pretty much won re-election here in the United States. Obviously, the Electoral College still has to certify it and vote on it and everything, right? So as it stands right now, and this is as of me recording this video early in the morning here, Trump has officially, according to the Associated Press, passed the 270 electoral vote threshold to win the U.S. presidential election.
God
on
damn.
top of that, the Republican Party has gained the majority in the U.S. Senate, and they're doing pretty well in the U.S. House of Representatives races as well. So it looks like there is a legitimate possibility that in the next few days, once these elections are all fully called, we've got all the votes, any necessary recounts or whatever that are done are kind of out of the way, it looks like the Republicans at this point will have the presidency, the majority in Senate, and possibly even the majority in the House of Representatives as well. And obviously, there's a lot of people talking on both sides of this entire thing right now. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of...
Mostly a lot of anger and fucking crying and bitching and complaining and making protests, apparently, out in Chicago, Illinois.
celebration. There's a lot of mixed emotions, right? Obviously, when it comes to elections like this, no matter
To be honest, I'm just here for the memes. I'm gonna be frankly honest with you. I'm just here for the memes. That's
who
it.
wins the presidency, pretty much half of the country is going to be pissed off, and obviously in the political climate that we've lived
I
in,
don't know about that, to be honest, Chief, because have you seen the map or so of how much how much the red has been taken over or so? I don't know, man. I don't know. It feels like there's less than half of the country is pissed off, to be honest.
and for the last decade or so at this point, you know, nobody was going to get out of this race winning without somebody being pissed off about it, right? So if you go on pretty much any social media today, you're going to notice that Democratic voters are losing their fucking minds.
Oh my god, it's been fucking so funny to see the Democrats lose their fucking minds. The people who are just so fucking insane, dude. Like my friend who's the Democratic or so, he wasn't upset, he wasn't crying, he wasn't bitching, he wasn't complaining. You know, they kind of just both sat there and they watched the election voting or so, and they're just like, hey man, they shook hands and that was it, you know.
Because Trump won again. Now, I don't know if everybody saw this coming before the election. You know, it was considered like a toss-up, and even me personally, I kind of went back and forward on who I thought was going to win this election. When it was Trump and Biden, I was pretty sure that Trump was probably going to beat Biden for re-election. Then, of course, you know, he ends up bowing out of the race. The Democratic Party basically thrusts Kamala Harris into the position of being the presidential nominee, and when she got in, I kind of thought for a while she was going to win it, and then it kind of went back and forward, you know.
No, there was no way that Kamala Harris was going to win, to be honest. I'm sorry, but for those people who actually thought that Kamala Harris was going to win, you're probably losing your mind or so, to be honest. Like, you can clearly see it as day as picture, to be honest. It's not rocket science from looking at just with your own two eyeballs or so to see that, like, hey, you know, this isn't going very well, to be honest.
No, especially during like the last couple weeks of the race, it just got so tight, right? Like, it got so contested. So there were 7 major swing states.
No, because because we did see a video as well that Kamala Harris broke TOS on the Fortnite map editor thing or so. Like, Kamala Harris, like the presidential thing or so, they actually broke TOS of the Epic Game Store or so for the Fortnite thing or so. They made a map or so to try to persuade, you know, gamer votes to vote for Kamala Harris and everything like that. And it wasn't even in the top 100 of the most popular maps or so for fucking Fortnite. So yeah, getting the teen votes, yeah, basically.
In this election, and just looking at the numbers right now, it looks like Trump pretty much swept board. I mean, he won in Georgia, he flipped that back for Republicans, he won in North Carolina, he won in Pennsylvania, he won in Wisconsin, looks like he's going to end up winning in Michigan. He's currently leading in both Arizona and also in Nevada, and he's also, of course, leading in Alaska, which is traditionally a pretty Republican state. So it looks like...
But you know what the craziest one was? Apparently he won Philadelphia. He won Philadelphia, and from what I remember, so that specific state itself is like mostly Democratic. So I'm surprised he actually won that one. So
as of right now, there's a pretty good chance that Trump will even cross 300 electoral votes. Some states still have to report ballots, even ones that have been decided, so. But as of right now, Trump is winning the popular vote by about 5 million or so votes.
God damn, dude.
Looks like by the time it's all said and done, he's probably going to have over about 75 million votes. And Kamala Harris, she basically is still trying to cross that 70 million threshold. She probably will. But it looks like the voter turnout for Kamala is much lower than it was for Biden, who won 81 million votes. He had apparently the most votes in American presidential history, like for any candidate. So there were some pretty high expectations, I think, for the Democratic voter turnout in this election. And that's really not what happened here. I mean, they just didn't turn out. I mean, you look at the numbers here, the voting for Democrats is much lower than it was in the last election. And like I said, you know, I think a lot of Democrats are just shell-shocked here, right? They don't really know how to address the fact that they lost this election. I think in a lot...
So stupid. It's such a dumb thing. I'm like, Republicans have won in the past too, and it was never been this fucking serious. Like, I don't understand this. Like, honestly, like Republicans have won from time to time in the past. That's what I just don't understand. Like, oh, I can't fucking fathom this shit. You know?
A lot of ways,
I'm like,
not
bruh.
even just because of the Trump victory, but just in the way that he won. This is almost like a flashback to 2016 when he upset Hillary Clinton to win the presidency back then, right? So, like I said, you know, half the country was going to be pissed regardless of the outcome here, right? Me personally, if I had to choose who would have been president, right, I probably would have wanted a new candidate from either party to be the president. I think that, you know, the traditional way that we've been doing things really hasn't been working out too well. And I would like to see fresh blood, but obviously it's not what happened here. I mean, Kamala, she was a career politician and she got nominated over, you know, when Joe Biden got dropped out of the race and whatnot. Trump has already been president, so he already has been in office. So we're at the point now where, you know, a lot of people I think are trying to come to grips with the reality that is setting in now. Now, I think some people are doing it pretty poorly, like Democrats, you know, like I said, they're online. They're freaking the fuck out. They don't know who to blame. I've seen Democrat voters online, you know, they're blaming every voter group. I've seen them blame, you know, white supremacy. They've blamed the black voters in the South for not, you know, letting Georgia, North Carolina, and all these places go red. They're blaming Latino voters because
Yeah, like that one that we just saw recently on the Aspen Gold clip or so, where they said white women and Latinos are uneducated people who voted for Donald Trump. So they're basically calling white women and Latinos stupid, basically.
Trump did really well with Latino voters this year. They're blaming non-college educated white people. They're blaming the Electoral College because they say that it's undemocratic. They're blaming Elon Musk because he bought Twitter/X, and they're saying that he like propagandized the entire country into voting for Trump. I just see a whole lot of blaming going on. And I know that this is going to piss some people off here, right? But this is just the reality of the world we live in.
No, it shouldn't be pissing off anybody because this is just how normal people are. You know, they're gonna vote for someone who's actually like a normal person. Hey, Acoustic. It's just like, bro, that's just not how it works. Like the Aspen Gold clip that literally explained it herself specifically, literally fucking explains how normal people in normal society works, you know, at the end of the day. So I'm gonna be honest with you, the Latinx, the fucking Latinx or the Latinx or whatever the fuck you want to call it or so, I did not support that whatsoever, to be honest. I thought that was the most dumbest thing ever in my entire life, to be honest.
Okay, you can be upset with me. I really don't give a fuck. This is just reality here. It's time for the chickens to come home to roost a little bit, I think, for the Democrats here. I think that Trump winning this election should be a massive wake-up call to the Democratic Party.
Yes.
And I know, you know, it's the morning after, so once again, everyone's pointing fingers and fucking blaming, oh, you're the reason why Trump won. You're the reason why Trump won. But let's go ahead and look at some of the facts here. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the reality of it.
All right, let's see.
Trump did pretty well across the board compared to what he was thought he was going to be done, right? Even in like liberal states where we already thought that Harris was going to win, Trump made pretty good ground. You know, he gained a lot of voters that I don't think a lot of people expected him to gain. He apparently gained about 45% of the male Latino vote. And, you know, people are losing their fucking minds over this. And like I said, Democrats, they're trying to blame people. Now, a lot of them are pointing the finger at minority groups, which is really odd to me because the Democrats have like always been the party of inclusion, and they're like the side that's supposedly like minority friendly or whatever. That's what they try to market themselves as.
Yeah.
And then now that they've lost the election, they're like shitting on Latinos. They're shitting on the black voters in the South.
Wow, dude, the moment that the Democrats don't get it their way or so, they start shitting the people who supported them in the past. That is so fucking funny how that is, to be honest. That is literally the most hilarious thing I've ever heard in my entire life, to be honest.
Saying women didn't do enough to win this election. They're blaming every group in America for this, you know? And you can sit here and argue night and day about whether or not Trump should win again, but the reality is he did. He won the presidency. He's going to be the next president, and it looks like by a pretty comfortable margin, right? So I guess, you know, you can point the finger and blame everybody else and say, oh, they lost us the election, but I mean, even looking at the popular vote, Donald Trump is pretty, so far, comfortably ahead in the popular vote. So when people are blaming the Electoral College, oh, it cheated us, you know, it's undemocratic or whatever. As it stands right now, you wouldn't have won the popular vote either. So you wouldn't have won the popular vote. You wouldn't have won the electoral vote. I mean, there's really no argument there to be made. Like, you just have lost the election, okay? As it stands right now, like 15 million less people voted Democrat in this election than they did in the last one. And while a lot of Democrats are pointing the fingers and they're blaming and they're, you know, yelling about this whole thing, they gotta face the reality of why did you lose this many votes? What happened here, right? So now a lot of Trump supporters, they think the 2020 election was stolen. They think the 81 million votes number is fraudulent or whatever, right? So that's their explanation for it. But I mean, the reality is the reality here, right? Like,
Yeah.
the Democrats didn't get enough people to come out and vote Democrat. And, you know, you can sit here and you can shit on Latino voters for quote unquote.
That is the most dumbest. That is actually the most dumbest thing to do, is to shit on the people who supported you in the past. That just makes them not want to vote you the next time you have a Democratic person that wants to, you know, do it.
Turning against their own because they voted in favor of the Republicans.
So
you can
dumb.
blame black voters in the South for letting Georgia, North Carolina, and these other places go red. But I don't think that that's a long-term winning formula
That
for
is just so
Democrats. I
dumb.
just don't. Like, every election, you try to cater to these minority groups. You try to win their votes. You try to, you know, use them as part of the Democratic leverage. And then when you lose the elections, you want to lash them and attack them as if it's their fault that you lost the election. I mean, I don't think that long-term that's really going to hold over well with minority groups. You know what I mean? I just really don't think so. And once again, you can be mad about hearing that. That's just...
Because you want to know something? You want to know something? The Latinos and Latinas do not forget. If you call us shit or so, we are not going to forget about it whatsoever. We have a really good memory when it comes to that shit, to be honest.
Just the reality. Now, another big reason that a lot of these people are saying that Kamala lost the whole thing is because apparently people don't want to vote for a woman president because of misogyny. They just want a man.
I thought that was the most dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. They're pulling out literally the woman card, or so it's like, oh, they don't want to vote for her because she's a woman or so, and they want a guy as the president. It's just like, oh my fucking god, dude. It's just like, fuck, dude. Like, I don't even know that much, you know. So, and I can automatically tell that she was gonna lose, you know. So.
And to be president, which also just doesn't make sense because in 2016, Hillary won the popular election. If America was like so against the concept of a woman being president, I don't think that really would have happened. You know what I mean? I don't think that Hillary would have won the popular vote. And I mean, even Kamala, right? Like, she won a good amount of votes in a lot of places. You know, she's going to probably end up with over 70 million votes. If people didn't want a woman president that bad, I figure that vote tally would be a lot less. I think people are just trying to come up with any reason at this point for how Trump won the election. But really, I think it just boils down to they're just simple things, right? Like, Democrats simply failed to pull in this country for this election. That's just reality. And you can be mad and you can call people idiots all you want. You can point the finger all you want. But that's not what's helping you win elections. I mean, the sooner the Democrats figure that out, the better, honestly, because they wonder why they keep losing middle America, and they wonder why they keep losing these battleground states like this. And now that, you know, Trump has won 2 elections, right? He wasn't supposed to in the grand scheme of things in a lot of these people's minds and whatnot. I get that, but here we are, you know, Trump is going to be the next president. So, and a lot of these people are also only focusing on the presidential election, right? Like, if Democrats ran well in this cycle, they probably also wouldn't have lost so bad in the Senate and in the House races. I mean, if it was all about, you know, oh, people only want to swing red for president, you know, that's what would have happened. They would have only voted for Trump, and, you know, the Democrats would have controlled the Senate, or they would have controlled the House. But as it looks right now, it looks like the entire country shifted pretty far red in this election cycle. It looks like the Republicans will probably have the majority in the U.S. House, the U.S. Senate, and in the presidency. So, I don't know. I just think there's a lot of reality that we have to come to terms with as a country with this election here, you know? We didn't do it in 2016 when Trump won. We didn't do it in 2020 when Biden won. And I don't know if we're going to do it now in 2024, but obviously this is the last race that Trump can run in and really win or do anything in. So this is probably, for the Republicans, the last hurrah until they find their next candidate. And I think both...
No, Trump won with a sweep or so. He won it with a pretty good, decent sweep, to be honest.
Parties really are going to have to find some new candidates, some fresh blood that reinvigorates everything, because the majority of people probably were pretty dissatisfied with
it. Wasn't a close battle, to be honest. If you want to say it's a close battle, no, it's not, to be honest. It's really not.
Candidate selection on both sides. I mean, most Americans are pretty fed up with both major political parties, you know? And I think with that being the reality, the Democrats have had opportunities to just like win this country over, not easily, but a lot more easily than they want to say that it is, right? I think that there's been more opportunity there. But personally, I think a lot of people, they were kind of shook by the whole thing that happened with the Democratic nomination. Like the idea that everyone was behind Biden one day, and then the next day, suddenly everyone had to be behind, you know, Kamala to be president. I think that threw a lot of people off. I think a lot of people have been dissatisfied with the Democratic leadership under the Biden administration. And I think that more people liked Trump as a candidate than they liked Kamala. And I mean, that's just apparent by the outcome of this result. So if you're mad at me that this is the result, that's fine. I really don't care. I mean, you being mad at me doesn't change the outcome of this election. You being mad at the Latino voters is not changing the outcome of this election. You pointing the fingers at anybody else, once again, not changing the outcome here. Simply put, if the Democrats wanted to win this election, all they had to do was go out and vote. And well, it looks like they got outvoted. At least as of right now, it looks like they got outvoted pretty widely across the board. And Donald Trump is going to be president. I didn't think that was going to happen again. It feels very surreal to say that. It feels very surreal to say that Trump basically won election again, right? Because like I said, this was such a toss.
He accidentally put a space bar, so.
Up battle. Even going up into the election, you know, people were very confused about who was going to lead, you know, who was going to win. There wasn't really any set given lead nationally for either candidate, right? Polls, depending on which side they kind of leaned politically, had their own projections. Going into the last couple days, Trump kind of gained some ground there, and as it seems, you know, it held pretty well through the election because he's won. He's probably going to be enshrined again. I mean, I don't know. It blows my mind that it was even actually him winning the popular vote, because he didn't win the popular vote when he won the first time, right? So he turned that around even for himself.
Yep.
And I mean, even when you look at like the Democratic strongholds, I mean, Kamala Harris had the worst performance for a Democratic candidate in New York City in decades when it comes to the election turnout. And these are places that are obviously heavily rooted Democrat strongholds. And I've seen, you know, people say online, I don't know 100% if this is true or not. It's pretty hard to verify personally, but I've seen people say that there's not a single county in America where Kamala Harris outperformed Joe Biden's Democratic performance in the last election. So when all this finger pointing is going on about, oh, why did we lose the election? What happened? I think that's a lot of what had to do with it. Now, I don't know who the Democrats should have ran in her place. I mean, you had Marianne Williamson. At one point, you had Robert Kennedy Jr., right? Like, there's other options that were on the table, but I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say if any of them would have beat Trump. You know what I mean? Because it's a completely different election forecast. It's a completely different scenario. The debates probably would have went differently, right? Like, I don't know. It's just too different to, like, really predict what would have happened. But like I said, there's enough people in this country who dislike Trump, they don't trust him and whatnot, that the Democrats should have been able to win this election, but they didn't. Okay? And that's the reality that we live in. So Donald Trump will be the next president of the United States. And it looks like he's going to be doing so with a Republican Senate and possibly even a Republican House through the first couple years of his, you know, presidency. So I don't know, man. These presidential election things, it's always weird to wake up the next morning. It always feels kind of surreal, you know, to watch all of this happen or whatever, right? But I just want to end this video with one final message, because I think that this is the reality that America needs to get back to, okay? Over the last decade, and truth be told, a lot of it has come during the Trump era, right? Because, you know, Trump is a very polarizing candidate. He says a lot of things that people disagree with. He says a lot of things that, you know, hurt people's feelings or they upset them. You know, he's been called racist, bigoted, all these different things, right? Over the last decade, this country has become so politically entrenched on both sides that, you know, people don't find common ground anymore. You know, there's a good chance that when I upload this video, just simply announcing the news, I don't even tell you who I voted for. I don't even tell you who I supported, any of that, right? But just because I've announced
You want to know something? I didn't even vote, to be honest, because I really didn't care for any of them. So I have not voted. I have not voted in who knows how long now these days, to be honest.
The reality of the fact that Donald won the election and the Democrats didn't turn out like they needed.
Because I don't care any of this stuff. It really does not make me care. Because you want to know something? When shit hits the fan or so, I'm just gonna go back to the void and just kind of watch the chaos, to be honest, at the end of the day.
Needed to. I will probably lose supporters, and that's fine. That's okay. If you support Kamala Harris over me, or you support the Democratic Party over me in reality, that's fine. Feel free to unsubscribe or whatever you feel necessary, right? But in this country,
I did, but I was more concerned about the
we can
laws
find
in
common
Cali.
ground again.
Really?
We need to get to a
That's
point where
crazy.
neighbors don't fucking hate each other again. We need to get to a point where friendships and relationships aren't ended over politics. Everybody wants to say, oh, it's embarrassing that Trump won the candidacy. America is embarrassing. To me, what makes America embarrassing is the fact that no matter who wins the election, half of the country can't accept the results when it happens.
It's not even half of the country. It's literally not even half of the country, because did you see how many blue states that there are compared to red states or so? It's not even half of the country this time. It's literally the small minority of the country of this time around.
And we have to always find some way to dig that trench deeper, okay? So whether you're a Kamala Harris supporter, whether you were a Joe Biden supporter, whether you're a fucking communist, whether, you know, you're a fucking Trump supporter to the day you die, I just want to say you matter in this country, and people should care about you, and your input should matter. And the way that you feel about things should matter. And the fact that no matter what, half this country seems to think that that shouldn't be the case, I think is a really fucked up thing. So whether this is...
Well, to be honest, I'm not going to be voting for Democratic, you know, because they called all Latinos and, you know, just the whole entire Hispanic, you know, community fucking stupid, apparently. Because apparently most of us voted, a good majority of us fucking voted Donald Trump, so they're thinking to be like, oh, you guys are so fucking stupid, you're so uneducated, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. I'm just not going to vote for your guys' side anymore.
This is how you wanted the political race to end, or whether this is like the worst possible outcome for you. I just wish that more people in this country would look forward with hope and with, you know, the idea that we support our country regardless. Because we should, as Americans, we should support this country no matter what. We're all in this boat together, you know, we're all in this fucking thing together, right? And sure, a political sign in the yard might be,
it's just, there's
you know,
just so much
that you find worthy of
shit,
ending a friendship or a, you know,
country.
neighborly friendship over whatever, right?
There's
but
just so
at the
much
end of the
bad
day, that's not helping
mentality
anybody
in the
win any
US in
elections.
general,
I think the
so.
Democrats have seen that twice now. So now that this is going to be Trump's last 4 years in office, I just hope to see the country come together again, whether they like the guy or not. Even if you don't like him, you should root for his success. You should root for him to be in a good position. You should root for him to complete campaign promises and to, you know, make this country better. And I would say the same thing about Joe Biden or Barack Obama or any presidential candidate, right?
So when are we having Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and Donald Trump playing Minecraft again? When are we having that again?
Like, when the whole thing is said and done, as a country, we should always stand behind the idea of our country progressing and getting better. And honestly, just because Trump is president doesn't mean that it's over for Democrats. You know, if Democrats get in the next 2 to 4 years, they start actually showing out and voting, they start putting in some candidates that are maybe more popular, they stop pointing the finger at everybody else and insulting them all the time about, you know, oh, you ruined it for us, you know, maybe that things will turn around for them, right? But I don't know. I don't think people really want to hear that right now. So anyway, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel. Follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below.
I'm gonna be honest with you, it's crazy. Plus, also we have my friend who is Australian or so has sent me a ton of freaking videos or so talking about this. I don't know how long these are. How long are these things are?
I wanted to ask you, there's a political ad on TV.
Trump's fracking claims hits Harris's U.S. election hopes.
In which you basically said, quote, there's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking, unquote.
Will you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking your first day in office, adding the United States to the list of countries who have banned this devastating practice?
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So, yeah.
Have you changed your view on fracking?
So let me start by saying that ad, as you described it, is absolutely a mischaracterization that I think is intended to make people afraid of my presidency. Wow. There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
What are you really?
I'm whatever you want me to be.
Why you always lying?
God damn. Okay.
Well, if anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
If you'd like to make a call, please hang up and try again.
So you think after all this time of thinking about how she would do things differently from Joe Biden, she would have a well-prepared answer for the interviewers on The View. Well, they ask her one thing you would do differently from Joe Biden. You know what she says?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Wow. Jesus Christ. That's pretty bad in my personal opinion, you know? Hey man, the people voted for this person, so to be, you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. So how long are these? Yeah, so my friend literally, like, my friend literally sent me all this stuff.
For lefties.
Yeah, my friend sent me all this stuff or so, which we're probably gonna be taking a look at it. Of course, they're probably gonna be their own video or so, but yeah, that's basically is what's been happening. The VTuber scene has been pretty crazy too, as well, with some of the situations. I don't know if I can. Let me see. Let me see if I can find anything. Of course, I'm not gonna show it on stream because, you know, there should be some sus stuff. One more tweet before I officially going MIA. My community will always be a safe haven. You are seen, heard, and loved in the community. If any friend and mutual needs me, I will do my best. I'm gonna do my best for you. I shed my tears, and I'm going to be strong. Please take care and love yourself. Interesting. Bro, man, some of the VTubers who are doing like crazy, like so this is one of the crazy things, right? Of course, I'm not gonna show this, right? But some of the crazy things that I've seen or so on Twitter or so, right, from the VTubers, right, is they would literally say, if Kamala wins, I will post certain NSFW content to everybody in this post or anybody who has voted for, you know. There was one who said who would do like a prawn picture or so. Another one saying an audio prawn audio thing or so for people if Kamala Harris wins. That's what literally mostly all the female VTubers have been doing, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, at least have a little bit of self-respect for yourself at least. Jesus Christ. I'm like, it's not that crazy, you know? Did they do it? Kamala didn't win, so why would they do it? They would only do it if Kamala wins. Honestly, I cannot believe it. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's pretty fucking funny though. I'll be honest with you, it's probably the most funniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life, to be honest. It is so fucking funny. Like I said, I don't care. I really don't care. I just think it's just fucking hilarious to see the memes, in my personal opinion. It is a pretty crazy thing to do, in my personal opinion, but who knows? At the end of the day, right? It's, you know, it's all on them. You know, they can do whatever the fuck they want to do. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna call their shit out. You know. It is just fucking hilarious to see, in my personal opinion. It's just fucking hilarious. At the end of the day, right? I don't really care about your political views. I really don't. You can be pro Kamala Harris, you can be pro Trump, you can be pro whatever the fuck you want to be. You know, I could care less, you know, because my community is just a place that we just can have some fun and chill out and, you know, do some wacky stupid things at the end of the day, you know? But hey, it is what it is, right? If you're hey man, you know, you do what you want to do, you know, at the end of the day, right? You do what you want to do. For me, I just like I don't really care. I'm just gonna go play Metaphor and unfortunately I've been playing Dragon Age because someone bought it, of course. Been kind of suffering through that just a little bit, you know. So, but yeah, overall it's just it is what it is. So, and yeah. It is pretty funny. It's actually really funny to see that. So it looks like it has died down a little bit or so, right? It's finally over, so but like but it's been pretty fucking funny to see it in the past, like what, the past 24 hours or so, about people losing their fucking minds over the presidential debate or so, at least for some of these VTubers anyways. It's just crazy in my personal opinion. So, and like they're all thinking that the world's gonna end or something, you know? Like it's just like, bro, it's not that serious, okay? It's not that fucking serious, alright? But yeah, anyways, yeah, that's the end of the video. I just kind of wanted to completely talk about this. It was a pretty interesting topic to talk about, and yeah, that's the end of the video. And hey man, the big orange man has won. We just, you know, you gotta for 4 years. We gotta deal with it for 4 years. So, anyways, that's the end of the video. And don't start screaming, okay, on TikTok and shit like that, okay? So that's the end of the video. And yeah.